Hey there! Welcome back for Relax, It's Just Cat Grooming. I'm Lynn, your host and instructor with the National Cat Groomers Institute. This is the show where we answer the questions that we get asked the most about grooming cats and running a successful business doing it. You can see that I've got my latest CFMG Beach Retreat hoodie on. We just wrapped up a few weeks ago. It was amazing. We talked business, we talked employees, we talked working with challenging cats, branding, improving your presence on video, website revamps. Oh my God, it was amazing. So if you are interested in becoming a CFMG, the first thing you're gonna need to do is get your complete cat groomer training syllabus, which I will provide in the link below. But today, I'm going to be talking 3 questions that we get asked all the time. 1, my client show up before I call them. What do I do? 2, how can I handle cats when a second person isn't an option? And 3, what dryers do you recommend using on cats? So if you enjoyed today's quick video, then make sure to click the notifications button on the National Cat Groomers page so that you can get notified whenever we post new videos and content just like this. So here we go. First question, my clients show up before I call them. What do I do? Well, if you've watched my other episodes, that you know that I am all about the prep work. What did you do to help that client understand what to expect for their grooming appointment with you? Remember, the majority of salons and businesses operate differently, so we cannot assume the client will just know. Take the time in advance to give them all the information that they need before booking a new appointment. Before I book a new client, a grooming appointment, I will explain how my appointments work, whether it is by phone, an email, or through my online booking software. I always reach out to go over exactly how things go down at my salon. So if I'm on the phone and we've already talked about what's going on with their cat and how I'm the solution to all their problems that they are having, and the client is ready to make an appointment, I'll say, great. I'd like to just go over real quick how my appointments are structured. I have all my grooms dropped off between 9 and 10 a.m. I plan on spending a few minutes with me that morning to fill out some paperwork, and I'll go over everything with you and your cat to make sure that we're on the same page. Once all my cats that day are in, I lock the door so I don't have any interruptions while grooming, since cats don't really appreciate me having to stop in the middle of a sudsy bath. With your cat's first appointment, I should have them done by about 12:30, 1 o'clock, but I will give you a call as soon as I'm finished. Then I'll give you an update on how Fluffy's groom went, and we'll pick a time for you to come and pick up. Keeping that in mind, is there a day of the week that works best for you? End. So it sounds a little tedious, but trust me, people do not call asking me when their cat is done, and they do not show up early either, because I've already laid all of the groundwork before they've even picked a day. And I do it before they pick a day because I want to make sure that the day that they pick is going to work out with what I just told them. So it doesn't make any sense for me to say, oh, well, what about Tuesday? No, I can't do Tuesday. What about Thursday? Oh, I can do Thursday. And then I find out that they have to be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they think they want to drop their cat off at 6:30, and I'm still in bed, and so that's just not going to happen. So I give them the whole thing so that I'm taking their schedule into consideration, but also letting them know that this is how my salon operates. Another tip is going to be overestimating how long it will take you to do their pet. Even if I know that a pet of that type or breed is an appointment that will normally take me 90 minutes, I always overestimate when giving them a time that their pet will be ready. This way, if anything happens, my hot water runs out, the cat pees, and I have to rebathe them, anything, I have that leeway, and barring some super crazy natural event, I know that every time this client comes in with their pet, I will be able to meet those time restrictions every time. Versus, oh, I'm slow today, or I'm slow just starting out in a new business, so it only took me an hour. No, set the expectations right off the bat. Clients return to a business because of one big thing: consistency. Have you ever had a client who came to your business right at the beginning, right when you opened, but as you got busier, they gave you a hard time and they ended up going somewhere else because you wouldn't bend over backwards for them? This is why. Because clients return to a business because of consistency. They want the exact same service that they got the last time. How they communicated with you, if you provided them with any reminder calls or emails, how they were greeted when they came in the door, how long the appointment took, how the pet looks, feels, and smells afterwards, if they got anything extra, everything. All of this makes up the entirety of the service that you provided. So don't set yourself up for failure by not being able to consistently provide the same service to your client every single time. This even means during busy holiday times. You have to learn to scale without sacrificing the main tenets of why your clients come to you. Lord, that could be a whole episode in itself. If you want to talk more about that, maintaining consistency in your grooming business or scaling your grooming business, then comment below so that we can talk after the episode. Talk? We can chat after the episode. One more tip before I move on to the next question. Give clients the most accurate time estimate that you can, taking the other things that I said into consideration. Clients don't understand that every grooming business operates differently. Overestimate how long it will take you so as not to set yourself up for expectations that you can't manage at future appointments. I want you to give them an actual time or window of time that the pet will be finished. Couple of hours, quote unquote, couple of hours means something different to every person. Could be 2, 3, 4, or 5+ hours. In a previous episode, I talked about utilizing the negative reviews of competitors or other businesses in your field. I have read numerous reviews where clients were like, well, they kept my dog for 5 hours, so, and they didn't even call me. Well, that to me sounds like the client had no idea what to expect, so they deferred back to the type of service and turnaround that they might have had at a previous salon, even though this salon does not operate the same. So I always don't just give them a roundabout estimate or just wave them off and say, oh, we'll call you when we're done. Even worse, with no time estimate. Like, oh yeah, I'll just call you when I'm finished. And you have zero idea of when that might be as far as the client. Think about the type of clients that come to your business. Are they families with young kids who are running errands? Are they working from home? Are they retired? Do they live close by, or do you have them drive to you whereas you're not in the main town? And think about, what would they be doing while you are grooming their pet? No, they're probably not just sitting around waiting anxiously for you to call them back. No, they're probably doing something. So it isn't that you aren't important to them, but they have to figure out when they're going to make their way back to you when you fit into that schedule. So overestimate and give them an actual time that you, are you planning on coming back right away? Are you going to run errands first? So I always ask them kind of what's happening. So I'll say, hey, I'll be done about 12:30 to 1 o'clock, but I can call as soon as I'm finished. Are you planning to come right away, or do you have some errands to run first? In my salon, I'm pretty flexible since I'm a home-based salon, but I tell every client every time that I'm flexible, but you have to tell me when to expect you. Because if I'm not expecting anybody, I am not just sitting up front, sitting around and waiting. I usually have the door locked and I'm in the back spending time with cats. And so I can't hear the doorbell back there because I like it to be nice and quiet. So you need to tell me when you're going to be there. As long as I have like 20 minutes notice, then I can put cats away. It's fine. Setting the expectations so that I can have that dialogue with the client and about what works for them and works for me at pickup is even more important if you have really strict pickup policies. So if you say to someone 3 to 4 hours, make sure you look at your clock and say, okay, well, 3 to 4 hours from now is 2 to 3 o'clock this afternoon. Is that going to be a good time for you to come back? Because I have a policy where you have to pick up within 30 minutes of my phone call. So it also makes it sound like you are doing them a favor by giving them that information of working around their schedule. But trust me, that slight change in wording totally makes a huge difference. Okay, so let's talk about some cat grooming stuff, because we're cat groomers, is what we're here for. How can I handle cats when a second person isn't an option? So Man, I get asked this all the time. Tips about solo handling is basically what you're asking me. In my opinion, it really comes down to having a wide variety of handling techniques in your arsenal and the knowledge to know when to use each of those techniques. That's all I really need. Once you know that, becoming a better solo handler as far as cat grooming, solo cat groomer, there we go, solo cat groomer, it comes down to three things. One, holding yourself to a higher standard. The first thing you have to do is acknowledge that you can do better. Whew. Let's unpack that for a sec. You have to objectively look at your grooms and nitpick, think about what you can do better with the cat and that groom. The finish work, how the cat responded to the groom, and your overall satisfaction of the service that you provided both to the client and to the cat. I would highly recommend taking photos of every groom that you do in order to look at the finish work, but also think about filming yourself grooming a cat or grooming multiple cats and critique later to see if there were any signs that maybe in hindsight the cat was giving you that you didn't catch, or was your knee-jerk reaction to something the cat did too heavy-handed in the situation, which made the situation worse. Recognizing that you have room to improve, that there are situations you could have handled, that is a huge first step towards growth. You will not be able to grow if you don't think you need to improve anything. Okay, so you have to acknowledge it. Then you have to know what to improve, which is why those photos and the videos really come in handy. So I have security cameras in my salon and I film myself doing everything. If every groom, I have a camera for my drying station, my bathing station, and my grooming station, and a front desk station, everything. So what I can do is I can go back and I can pull the footage to watch something that I feel like, you know what, I feel like this could have gone better. Or, you know, let me watch that while I'm making notes so that I can make some adjustments for next time. And that's where you have to acknowledge that maybe there's some things that I can change. Maybe there's some things I can tweak. Like maybe that cat was trying to tell me something and I didn't catch it. So that's where the filming really comes in, and you can save those little video clips. So I can, you know, if anybody has any questions about what type of security system I use, add it in the comments and I will get back to you. Okay, so the next thing is that you're gonna need to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. If you wanna do more solo handling, then you're gonna have to be prepared to get a little uncomfortable, okay? Take some calculated risk, use some muscles that you aren't used to using, and try techniques and positions that are unfamiliar. So this means using your forearms, your wrists, your thighs, your knees, your sides, like, you know, being on the lap, being on the table, using a towel. Get used to feeling awkward and with sore muscles until you can build up that strength, because these are things that we're not used to doing. That's why it feels so crazy. Now, how do you know what to do with those body parts? Well, that brings me to my third tip, which is get training with someone in person. Now, there is a ton of information that you can learn through books, DVDs, and online classes, obviously, because I helped create a lot of them for the National Cat Groomers, and I wouldn't work for them and teach with them if I didn't totally agree with what we were doing. So, lots of information you can learn that way. However, you need to take all of that knowledge and know how to apply it and change it for each individual cat. And the best way to do that is by working with someone else who knows more than you. So that's where our amazing certifiers and improved trainers come in, because, I mean, what's a better way to problem solve than doubling the amount of brain power that's in the room? That was a quote I heard somewhere and I thought it was fantastic. You're doubling the amount of brain power that's in the room working on that particular cat, because a lot of cat grooming is problem solving. So, and it's hard to problem solve with hypotheticals. Like, hypothetically, what would you do with a cat that was doing this? What would you do with a cat that was freaking out in the tub? Okay, well, why are they freaking out? What are they responding to? What have you already tried? Those are things that needs to happen in person. And that's where having that support system, someone else who's helping you figure those things out so that you can problem solve on your own, makes a huge difference. So there's a list on our website at nationalcatgroomers.com/approved-trainers, and that's where you can see what trainers are near you, what kind of grooming businesses they have, so that you can either go to their salon or you can host them at your salon so that you can have somebody you really click with. Like, that's the whole point. We've got a bunch. You got to find somebody that you're going to work well with, and that's our goal. So getting that hand to hand. It's not like combat, it's cat grooming. But you need to do it in person. That's really going to be the thing that pulls it all together, pulls all that knowledge that you learned together. So the third question that I wanted to cover in today's episodes is, what dryers do you recommend using on cats? And so I've already mentioned it before, but my favorite is the Canine Mini Fluffer. It has a variable speed knob, and so it starts low and it can go high. It's compact. It's a great size. I've used it on like baby kittens all the way up to like Newfoundlands. I love that dryer. It's lasted me like 8 years, I think, so far. It's wonderful. Also, the Romani Junior is a great workhorse dryer. So that sucker is going to last you for years and years and years and years. It is more of an investment, but you're basically paying for a really high quality piece of equipment that's going to last you a very long time. I like that. It doesn't have a variable speed knob, but we've used it at the cat grooming school. We used it in our studio. Danielle used it in her salon, and it was always wonderful. So we just don't use it with a nozzle. Like I said in the last episode, I think, or the one before that, no nozzles. Also, one of the things that you should be keeping in mind when drying cats is that the warmth of the air, it shouldn't be too hot. So I don't usually recommend dryers that have a separate heating element, since it can usually get too hot for cats. I want warm air, but I want it to be warm because the air has passed over the engine and just warmed up. So it's warmer than like room temperature, but it's not heated. It's not a specific heated dryer, especially if the cat is going to be in a smaller space. So if you're going to use cage drying as part of your drying routine, then the large floor or space style dryers are really great. That's like the big ones with the big hoses. My favorite brands are the Be Air dryers and the Sahara dryers. I bought my Be Air at Frank Rowan's Son at Hershey a few years back with the three hose attachments, so I can hook it onto 3 cages at once. I usually don't cage dry that many cats at one time just with how my salon is set up, but when we had the studio in the school, that's how we did it. We basically had 2 of them. We had a cage bank of 6 cages, and we would pre-shave, bathe, and put them in a cage dryer pretty much until we had all 6 filled, and then we would go back and empty it, and we'd kind of cycle everybody in and out. So they're really fantastic. They're great dryers. So sometimes I get asked about stand dryers, and now when I still groom dogs, so I don't groom dogs anymore, I only groom kitties, yay! When I groom dogs, I loved stand dryers because I would fluff dry them and finish dry them, and I brush it, and it's like, it looks so good. But to be totally honest, I don't really use them for cats because I get them totally dry and fluffed out with my high velocity dryer while I'm in the caddy shack. There we go. While I'm in my caddy shack, and the caddy shack has a clamp to make it hands-free. So it's got this clamp. You can kind of see it. Where is it? Here. You see this like black thing hanging down? That's the clamp. So I can put my dryer nozzle in the clamp and it will point where I need it to go. So I have both hands, so I can demat, I can do whatever I need to do. So that way it saves me a lot of time. I kind of find that with cats, time is really of the essence. So I try to be as efficient as possible. So having my high velocity dryer in the caddy shack is pretty much how it's going to finish for me. So that wraps up today's episode. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Relax, It's Just Cat Grooming. If you have a question that you would like me to address on a future episode or had questions about this episode, you can email me. I am just today. You can email me at lynn@nationalcatgroomers.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.